you listen to John Fetterman this morning? He respects the office of president who is ever there. That's what we do. That's what we were taught. So while Chris Murphy was with the Dancing Frogs, he basically convinced Himes, Hayes, DeLauro, Courtney, and Larson, our 5 Dancing Frogs, not to show up to the State of the Union. Okay, fine. So they set a precedent, which is bad. And I'm Johnny Flynn. I'm in Connecticut. We have far more corruption than Minnesota. Our corruption is many times greater than Minnesota. Yeah. So what I want to show you is this. You go to your browser. You go to jud.ct.gov. You pick Stanford. You go to case lookup. And you put the year in. And you put our case number in, 5033754. Hit search. This is our latest lawsuit. There I am. Now, we have multiple plaintiffs. They just didn't list anyone but me, which is a problem. The state of Connecticut is falsifying the entries to this case. But interestingly enough, we have Elizabeth Bizzuto as number 1, 2, Senator Blumenthal. Go down to Judge Meyer, number 5, very important, Hartford federal judge. We have Stephen Burnham, habeas corpus manager. And then 7 is Chris Murphy, my last opponent. And amazingly enough, Jim Himes is not here, my current opponent in the Congress. Jim Himes stole $50 million from me through his Bernie Madoff connections. Now, the money was stolen in 2000, 9 years before Himes was a congressman, but his staffers are involved up to their eyeballs with destroying exculpatory evidence. So the number 8 defendant, Andres Bermudez Hallstrom, Hallstrom, he's the DA, non-appearing, and they've spelt his name wrong. Wow. Look at the other names. Number 13, Samantha Prayal. That's completely wrong. Look at the defendant 14, Kevin Koring. No. His name is Kevin Young. They got him spelt wrong. Who else? Here we go. The primary defendant, the judge, the federal judge screwing everyone over in the state of Connecticut, is not Samantha Judge Oliver. His name is Judge Vernon Oliver. So they took all these names, misspelled them, and the 20th defendant, which doesn't show, is Liberty Voting. Liberty Voting is No Inc. No Inc. had a name change after buying Dominion Voting. So No Inc., changed its name. They refused to add them here as the 20th defendant. Well, unfortunately, I think 90 other defendants have been served already, and they do not show. Here we go. Summons, complaint, continuation of parties. Let's look at that. Page 2. Okay. There are 70 pages missing. 70 pages like this missing. This is page 4, 3, 2, and 1. Page 1 is missing. Here is Judge Meyer. Here is Karen Cassidy. Andres Bermudez Hallstrom. These two people collaborated in a false arrest. Yes, they did. It's shocking what's happening. This was the third version of a continuation of parties. Now, Dr. Drew Edward, he's a criminal. He tried to murder me. He falsified the medical records. Sadly enough, Keely Walcott destroyed all the medical records at Whiting Forensic Hospital. Now, why do I say Connecticut is worse than Minnesota? Because they had $6.3 billion of fraud in 2021 just in Whiting Forensic Hospital. Did you hear what I said? 6.3 billion. That doesn't count the windmill generation crap or you can go on and on. The fraud at the pier in the old salt dispersion place in New London. Look at these names here. Mike Genovese. He's a criminal. When you meet him, you'll understand. Prayali Samanta. Criminal. Judge Livingston. Criminal. Judge Oliver. Criminal. The Public Service and Trust Commission of Connecticut. Criminal enterprise. Period. Criminal Practice Commission. Patrick Carroll. Criminal. I filed 62 judicial misconduct complaints with Patrick Carroll. 62. Now he's replaced. Okay, who's Susan Story? Criminal. She runs the Public Defender's Office. Tell me how a Jim Himes staffer goes to the Public Defender's Office and negotiates to represent me in false charges by D.A. Hallstrom. The State of the Union of Connecticut is far worse than the country. Donald Trump will not come here. That's okay. That's okay. The delegation of Connecticut in Congress skipped the State of the Union. That's okay too. I hope they never come back because I intend to replace them with people I know. I think Jonathan DeBarris should take a congressional seat from Hayes. Yeah. I know someone's taken Jim Himes' seat because he's a criminal and I'm going to put him in jail. What's the point of running against him if we're using Dominion voting software with Smartmatic programmers that Scott Bates put in there with Serbian programming? We know who the Serbian programmers are. Hell, Connecticut arranged the whole thing with President Biden. Why did President Biden go to Serbia? Why does Scott Bates work for the Democratic Serbian government agency? Why does he run USAID for Connecticut? Why does Scott Bates run USAID for Connecticut? Why does our Secretary of State have a private for-profit company consulting for nonprofits associated with grant money? Tons of grant money. Save the children, folks. Tons of grant money. What is Stedwin? Why did the Secretary of State make $5 million a year at a minimum and upwards of more than $25 million a year prior to her becoming Secretary of State? Tell me why she gave up a job making $25 million a year to become Secretary of State. Okay, we have a candidate for Secretary of State. I'm not even going to go there. Okay, you want to talk about it? Fine. Question me on Twitter, on my Twitter page, which is right here. Go to the top. Yeah, I got 19,800 followers. However, these followers are being suppressed by Twitter. I was kicked off Twitter 3 times. I started from scratch each time. The Secretary of State's office, Scott Bates and Gabby Rosenberg, had me kicked off Facebook twice, had me kicked off LinkedIn once. I have a new LinkedIn account. I don't even go there. I had many, many Villanova graduates following me through LinkedIn. It's okay, it's not a gripe session. The gloves are coming off soon. Soon the gloves are coming off. Now that lawsuit that I showed you right here has 650 defendants, not 19. Not 19. Okay? And when you see the list, and I explain the list to you, you're going to wonder what I'm actually up to. So here we go. The federal government is chipping everyone. More than 50 million Americans are chipped with biometric chips. I've got one right here. I don't know if you can see the lump. I've got one in my ear. The one in my ear is registered, okay, to CISA, Elections Enforcement, Chris Murphy. Chris Murphy had them chip me. There's no other explanation. I have one in my leg by the U.S. Marshal Service, tracking me like a dog. If your dog runs away, they stick a semiconductor under your dog's skin so you can, with your phone, remotely see where the dog is and go get it back. The problem here is that the marshals are happy and told me they're happy that the plaintiffs in this case and the prior case are getting murdered. So the guy who put a chip in my leg, who controls my semiconductor, is telling me he's happy that I'm chipped. Will they knock my teeth out? Maybe. I can tell you this. I filed 43 motions already. Do they show? No, they don't. I gave them 43 exhibits. Do they show? No, they don't. They're missing because the chief court administrator, Anderson, is rigging this court case through the clerks in the Stamford Superior Court, who I am told sell jury information to attorneys in the parking lot with a marshal who just retired. So I asked for the arrest of Josie. She's still going to work. I asked for the arrest of O'Donovan Murphy. He's still going to work. So I'm going to start asking for the arrest of Mr. Joeli, he's involved in fraudulent cases with judges that have ex parte communications with Bridgeport. Stanford is talking with Bridgeport about cases of people they have framed. And if you follow my campaign, you will learn about many of them, which I haven't spoken about yet, pretty much. I do have 7,000 videos. They're on BitChute and YouTube. There are some you must see. There are some you must see. But anyway, the State of the Union of Connecticut is that we are far worse than Minnesota. Our congressional delegates did not even go to the State of the Union. Blumenthal went. Blumenthal offered me a bribe. Not a small amount of money. I did not accept it because it had no paperwork attached. I did not get his signature, so I could not accept the money. The money was actually stolen from us, and they were returning the money. The money was stolen from 15 bank accounts in Connecticut. People's Bank, Wells Fargo, Bank America, Fleet Bank Boston. All of these entities are Jim Himes's largest donors. So Himes had a staffer claiming to be a public defender. In this case, he's a defendant. Do you see his name? He's been served. The documents were given to the marshal 2 months ago. 2 months ago. The return date of March 10th is coming up. So now we're asking for April 7th. We're going to have a new return date. However, where's the return date here? Information as of. Return date 2/10. Not true. The return date is 3/10 now, and we're asking for April 7th. So the state of Connecticut and its psychotic delegates are not America first. No. And if you're not America first, don't follow me. I got 19,800 America First people, and I'm calling all America First to follow me. Because what I'm gonna demonstrate is that the court is murdering people in Connecticut. That is what I am going to demonstrate, because it's a fact. It's a fact. So if you have information about Connecticut court being involved with covering up murders, I'd like to hear about it. Please. Please. At my Flynn 2022 at Flynn 2022 on Twitter. Follow, share, post, and win in overtime. I played hockey. I was terrible. I was tiny. I got my ass kicked, but I was the best skater. So say what you want about America. But if you're going to put them down, you'll be removed from my page. And I thank you for listening. So I've made my announcements. Nope. I told every single newspaper. Hearst Media is a defendant. And I may have to add particular people like Ken Dixon, Dan Haar, the criminal cabal of Connecticut, manipulating the news. Okay, there are a couple of radio stations that are cool. I was just on Reese on the radio. He's excellent, folks. There are some who are too afraid to interview me because they don't know what I'm going to say. The problem is they read only Hearst media articles and they don't do any due diligence on their own. So this is the fight that you should watch. Myself versus Congressman Jim Himes. He is a communist. He's involved with the Cures Act big time. He's not your friend. He is your enemy. And if you vote for him, you deserve what you get. So thanks a lot. If you want to see all the corruption he's responsible for, that would take quite a few hours to explain, which I'm willing to do. Been tracking him since I met him in 2009, 10, 11, 12, and 13. I filed 5 complaints with him about Bernie Madoff, and guess what happened? His attorneys claimed to be my attorney, and they cashed my stolen checks. Bank America attorneys cashed my stolen checks from my bank account from Greenwich Global LP, which Denise Merrill stole. Denise Merrill stole my business. There are other businesses she has stolen, and those people have come to me and said, this is what happened to my firm. Okay? Defense contractors have been stolen. Businesses have been stolen, leading to check fraud, accounting fraud. And in one case, when I went to the Rockville court, the marshals attacked me and put me on the ground because I explained to the state's attorney, who is no longer there, that Judge Dallas Gordon's signature had been forged by Mater Robinson and DeFelice. Yeah, Dale Robinson is a criminal. Fact. He threatened me too. Fact. Been threatened by 189 people. That's pretty extensive. I think I've said enough for one day. Thank you very much. If you follow, you'll hear a lot more, and I appreciate your efforts. America first.